inside ExtraMile Arena in Boise, Idaho. We're just across the parking lot from the famous blue turf at Boise State University. The Bronco basketball team has won 8 in a row. They're number 12 in the net ratings, and they're getting ready to host the Air Force Academy Falcons. How you doing, everybody? Bob Akamian, White King Jones along with you as we get ready for Mountain West Conference basketball late night edition. Boise State on top of the Mountain West right now, and they've got the player everyone expected to be the best in the conference this year, leading the way so far, and that is Derrick Alston Jr.
Derrick Alston Jr. is the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year, and when you watch this young man play, you understand why. He gets to the rim and he finishes with that 6'9" athletic frame. He shoots the three. He's great from the free throw line. He gets fouled. He is a game changer for Boise State.
Both of these teams have well-established starting lineups this year. As we look at the starting five for both teams, 4 players in each of these lineups have played in every game already. So these coaches figuring out the groups they like, and Boise State a pretty impressive bench to go along with this first 5. We'll talk about Derrick Alston, but Ray J. Dennis, Emmanuel Acott, all have put on the Superman capes early this season. Well, we'll take a look here at Derrick Alston Jr., who is on top of every offensive category for this team, leading the Broncos in minutes, take the most shots, makes the most threes, shoots the best three-point percentage, and is the best free throw shooter on the team. Air Force in the blue, Boise State in the home white. John Higgins about to throw the ball up, a very veteran officiating crew with us tonight. We're playing Mountain West hoops. Settle in from Boise. Broncos have an embarrassment of riches of backcourt and ball handlers, and you see Acott immediately with the penetration into the big man, Baladin Armouche, and he draws an early foul.
Well, you see that duck in right there, and you see that deep position, and automatically you see a foul for Jackson. They're looking to get the ball into the post because they know that they have that size advantage, and they know that Jackson has a tendency to pick up fouls.
Armouche, 70% at the line. Hey, it's time for the keys to the game, brought to you by Lincoln. Coach, take it away.
Falcon transition defense. Air Force has to make this a half-court game. They cannot let this be a track meet. Boise State is great in transition, and Air Force also has to take care of the basketball. Right now, they're averaging 16 turnovers a game, and they have to do a great job of scoring in the paint. As you can see, A.J. Walker attacked the rim right there. The one game that they won, the battle in points in the paint, they won against Nevada by 2.
And they came from behind to do that, being relentless in the second half. And Steve Alford telling us last week the Wolfpack kind of stopped playing, and Air Force took advantage in that comeback. That game was in Reno, too. So an important road win for the Academy. That's Glenn McClintock, freshman from Kansas City, running the offense. This team full of freshmen and sophomores. McClintock fires the 3, and there's Boise in transition. Bridge a little too far from Ray J. Dennis. Falcons come back the other way with Walker.
I'm actually surprised to see that pass by Ray J to start the game. He does a really good job of taking care of the ball. So I'm surprised to see him make that turnover so early in the game.
Now we see the more conventional Air Force offense. If you see shades of Princeton and Coach Petey Carrill, that's what they're doing.
Really looking to attack with the backdoor pass.
Entry to Nick Jackson, but shot clock expires, and good defense by the Broncos. Here's Coach Joe Scott, head coach of the Falcons, his second tour at the Academy, and they did very well under him the first time, made it to the NCAA tournament in 2004. Scott comes back this year, likes being at the Academy, and he's got young guys, and he's not afraid to change things. He's playing freshman, making a plan. Alston misses from the perimeter, no second chance. Well, this is a big thing. Air Force needs rebounds.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to allow Boise to have second chances.
They don't, and they've really struggled in defensive rebounding. They've given up offensive rebounds continually, and it's something that they really need to work on, something that, and to be honest with you, some of it has to do with just their lack of size that they get out-rebounded.
Keaton Van Solen finds Walker, and A.J. Walker's. They want the ball in his hands. Getting 12.5 a game. Best shooter, best three-point shooter, best free throw shooter. Just like Derrick Alston.
He's their version of Derrick Alston.
AJ's a junior out of San Antonio. Kejab for Boise State. That's Abu Kejab, former Oregon Duck. One of 4 transfers who all got to practice last year, so they're not newcomers this year. And serious talent, Acott. On the outside, Keaton Van Solen, a guy Air Force would like to get going, the senior out of Waukee, Iowa, averaging 8 a game.
And talking to Coach Scott yesterday, he mentioned Van Solen, saying that he needs him to step up and start to play better basketball for them.
The Boise turnover. Broncos a little sloppy early. They get the ball right back. Here's Acott, Ray J, and one. Ray J. Dennis gets to the line.
And this is what we're talking about when we talk about getting back in transition. They turn it over, and the Broncos immediately make them pay with an and one at the rim. And that's the Broncos point guard, Ray J. Dennis, finishing at the rim. Lots of talent on this Bronco ball club.
Yeah, with all the talk of Alston, Ray J's kind of the heart of the offense. He has more win shares than anybody on Boise State right now, and he's the guy early in games that takes charge and attacks, and he's got 3 on the board. Now the academy, Chris Joyce. There's AJ down below against Ray J. Good defense. Broncos always strong in man defense. There's the takeaway, and there's Acott making it happen with the flush.
And this is what we talk about when we talk about taking care of the ball. Air Force cannot afford to turn the ball over, because Boise State is one of the best teams in the conference in capitalizing on those turnovers and getting out in transition.
The answer for A.J. Walker. And Air Force shooting the ball well early. They lead by 2.
If you're Coach Scott, you're happy with this start to this game right now.
Alston perimeter off the mark. And he's had some slow starts in games this year, but he'll find that shot.
He's so talented. You can't bank on a slow start with a guy that talented.
Air Force moving the ball well. There's Van Solen again from the perimeter. So they're 3 for 5 to start the game. And it's a team shooting just 43%. Here's the quick entry. Armouche misses.
Armouche has to finish that. He has to finish that. Guy that big, that strong, can't miss a layup.
Oh, and a sweet entry pass there. This time it's A.J. finding Chris Joyce. Junior to senior, 2 of the leaders on this team.
And when you talk about the Princeton offense, that's what you're talking about. Using back doors, having bigs that can do a great job passing the ball, having guards that can do a great job of delivering that pass on the back door.
Now the perimeter for the Broncos. Kejab knocks it down. 6'7" guy, pretty sweet on the perimeter. He hit some big threes in the second half in Boise State's win at Brigham Young, which is a pretty important victory right now. That's why they're number 12 in the net rankings.
Huge win for them.
So good pace early on in this game. Hopkins gets some looks. They go deep on the baseline. In close quarters, Nick Jackson doesn't go. Here's Acott again in transition. Finds Ray J. This time a second chance for Boise State. They get on the offensive boards. Alston will drive in traffic. Gets the shot up, and he will get to the line. Air Force off to a good start. The Falcons efficient on offense. Great vision by A.J. Walker. And the Falcons up early. Well, you look into the Boise State huddle, and there's Coach Leon Rice in his 11th season. Of course, former Gonzaga assistant under Mark Few, part of the Don Munson coaching tree at the University of Oregon. And he is chasing Bobby Dye with most wins in Boise State history. And he's going to get there.
I would say he's definitely going to get there with this team. This is a very, very good team, very well-rounded, talented basketball team.
Broncos going to the bench. And free throws coming up. There's Coach Rice and his staff, Mike Burns, Tim Duryea, R.J. Barsh. Alston goes to the line. We mentioned he's the best free throw shooter on the team, 84%.
You see Coach going to his bench with Marcus Shaver and Devonair Dutrieve.
Dutrieve making his Boise State debut. Hasn't played in a year since leaving the University of Arizona. A superb offensive player. Now Max Rice will also come in. Alston gets an early break.
Dutrieve is a very talented young man, very talented scorer. I had a chance to coach against him at my time at Cal, and he's a very, very talented young man. This is a great pickup for this Boise State program.
Marcus Shaver, so an interesting combo of guards. First time they played together this year, and Shaver, Dutrieve, and then Max Rice, who's been the Super Six man for the Broncos.
Yeah, Coach Rice talked about it today. He said that it would probably take these guys some time to get used to each other, but we'll see how it goes tonight.
Here we go, first offensive set. Joyce spent a lot of time in the paint for the turnover. 8 caught at the top. Now Max Rice. And fouled out on the perimeter. It's going to go against Joyce. Max Rice, coach's son, but has made a name for himself. It was interesting that Leon Rice was telling us he kind of stopped calling him Max and just called him 12, so it didn't seem like it was too familiar. And now everybody just calls him 12 in practice.
He told the story that he was calling him Max, and Max was responding with Dad. And so,
I can't have that dad thing going on.
So he just started calling him 12, and it stuck.
But Max Rice, legitimate in his own, played for John Stockton's AAU program while they were in Spokane and Gonzaga. Had a great high school career here in Boise at Bishop Kelly, big private school powerhouse.
And you see right there, you see Boise pick up another offensive rebound. If Air Force wants to give themselves a chance to win the game tonight, they cannot keep giving up offensive rebounds.
Yeah, the first few possessions they didn't allow, but now Boise's had a couple. There's Max getting ready for the inbound. Shaver will trigger. Shaver, another one of those transfers who had a year of practice. He was a 2-year starter in Portland.
Shaver is extremely effective. I refer to him as instant offense for Boise State. Very talented young man. I would say that he's talented enough that if he was playing for anyone else in the conference, he'd probably be in their starting 5.
Boy, and the fouls adding up for Air Force now. 6-0 on the team fouls, and then Solon just got his second. And now an offensive foul, so here's your first foul against the Broncos. And Air Force does not have enough of a bench to deal with a lot of guys out. Abe Kindrade is out, big country. Injured his knee against Utah State last weekend. He'll miss this weekend. They expect to get him back. That was a pretty ugly-looking injury when it happened, but fortunately it's just a sprain, you think?
Yes, when I saw that injury, I called that game, and I thought that he would be out for the season. Yeah. I thought that he had seriously injured himself, so it's good to hear that he'll be back soon.
Yeah, Joe Scott pretty optimistic about that, and Kindrade had been playing well. There's Chris Joyce. He's the leading scorer. We talked about AJ's 12.5. Joyce averaging 13 a game, so they've been the 2. Air Force not scoring a lot of points right now, 56 per game. Max Rice, big 3. Don't shoot him for money.
He shot that one from the logo. That was deep 3.
And just straight release with the arm, too. Broncos open up a 4-point lead. They've scored the last 8. Take a look at Max again.
And you see he has the low release, so he needs space. But good for him that he can make him from that deep. I really like what he brings to this ball team. At 11 points a game in the last 2 games, he's shooting over 50%. He's really doing a great job giving them something off the bench.
And, you know, every game I've watched them this year, he comes in, he does something immediately. And then you talk about Shaver's instant offense. There's 3, and now it's 11 straight for the Broncos. You know, they got a lot of guys who can hurt you from the perimeter. And when you talk about Ray J. Shaver driving to the hoop, Acott can score from anywhere. Key jab inside, outside. Here's key jab now. Taking it to the rack. 13 straight.
And here's what makes them very dangerous is that when they get it, any of their guys get a rebound, majority of the time, if it's not our moves, they can get it to the rim. And right here you see Kijab finish. Boise State up 19-10.
Well, it's been about 4 minutes since Air Force scored, and Boise State's run has put them up 9 at 19-10, and a lot of it because of three-point shooting.
And they're doing a great job of moving the ball and finding the open man against the zone. You wonder how they're going to attack the zone, and this is how they're attacking it.
Shaver, Rice, Kijab, they're 3 of 6 as a team that's about 34% from beyond the arc this season, and showing that dimension from the outside.
And it's such a luxury for Coach Rice to be able to have a guy like Shaver and Rice come off his bench and come in and give him something right away.
Shaver missed a couple games with a foot injury. He started the first 3 games of the season. You can take a look at Leon's record. And an assistant to Mark Few. At Gonzaga, the 2 of them, those young dudes hanging around the Oregon Ducks in the late 80s. And Danny Munson, Don Munson's son, was part of that. Danny, of course, at Long Beach State. His son is here at Boise State. Who touched it? Looks like it'll be an Air Force ball.
You're starting to see a lot more energy on defense from Boise State. See Alston back in the game as they're starting to open up this lead.
Bobble inside, Van Solen. Van Solen back with 2 fouls for Air Force. Here's Alston on the dribble. Sees Max Rice. Shaver. Here's Dutry. Dutry yet to take a shot. There's the attack. And look at that. A little off balance. Makes that go.
And that is what he's known for. That's what he did back at Arizona. He's a great athlete, athletic. And right there you see the athletic finish.
Nice release by Dutry. Alston looks to give it back. Instead sees Rice. Rice floats it. Doesn't go. A.J. Walker with the board. 15 straight now for the Broncos. They trail 10-6.
The Air Force had a great start, and now starting to get away from them a little bit. You really need a bucket here.
Joyce in the paint, turns, connects. Shooting over Rice.
To start to get some momentum.
So Boise State has gone small, as we thought they would do. With Armouche out, they did not bring in Lucas Milner, who's their traditional backup 5. And I think tonight we'll see a lot of experimenting with small lineups.
Yeah, I think they can afford to go small because Air Force doesn't really have a big lineup. And so I think Coach wants to tinker with the small lineup and see how it looks for him.
And the bonus now for the Broncos. And here's Dutry to the line. He started his high school career in Anchorage at West Anchorage High School. Saw him play up there in about 2015. He was pretty smooth then. And they ended up finishing up in Los Angeles at Birmingham High School in Inglewood. Had a pretty good career there. You see his hometown listed as Dallas. That's his kind of family home now.
Family home. I had a chance to see him in high school as well, and you could just see he was the younger brother down at Birmingham High School, and you could just see the talent. And then as he got older, you could see him put it all together, and he ended up at Arizona.
By the way, that was Van Solem's 3rd foul. He's got the ball. Gives it up to Walker. Back iron, no second chance. So 7-5 in the rebounds now for Boise State. Scrap on the floor. Field ball, we're going to go the other way. Kijab battling with Glenn McClintock. Now Boise State brings Armouche back in. That is how he prefers it to be pronounced. I'm not just being funny.
That's a great job. I like
Mladen Armouche from Belgrade, Serbia.
You did a great job rolling that R, Bob.
It's my Mediterranean roots. Glenn McClintock, and the freshman who's taking charge running this offense. Air Force playing with a pretty tight rotation right now. And there's Emeka Akaya, his first basket, senior out of Maryland. Hasn't had a lot of minutes, but he's been showing up in practice, and Joe Scott said he's playing like a senior now. He's earning minutes. And another three for the Broncos, Marcus Shaver.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do with that. I mean, I wouldn't say that was bad defense. That was just great offense right there on the step-back three for Shaver.
And I could see Marcus play quite a bit at Portland. He's just decisive.
Yeah, he is instant offense for Boise off the bench, and it is an absolute luxury for Coach Rice to have him off his bench.
Amaya misses. Shaver, see now Shaver with the drive. Air Force corrals the rebound with Van Solen. You know, Van Solen, you would think, is looking forward to tonight. All of his career bests, significant career bests, are against Boise State. He had 9 rebounds in a game that Air Force won at the Academy last year.
Yeah, that's a great finish at the rim for him right there. And like we said before, Coach Scott really wants him to step up and be the senior that he is. He's a captain. For them to be successful, he has to step up and start playing better basketball, and he's having a good night so far.
And, you know, he's been left in the game with a few fouls, but, I mean, you want him on the floor. Marmouche travels. So Boise State decisive in the first half. They have done a great job dominating early this year. Tomorrow, don't miss a classic Big Ten Hoop Showdown on FS1. All-American Tracy Jackson-Davis leads the Indiana Hoosiers against the 8th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers. Tomorrow at 7 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Here's the Big Ten up to the moment. Boy, Michigan tonight spanking Minnesota. They're the only undefeated team in conference play, but there's a lot of talent in this league. Illinois, great start. Iowa, you know the Wisconsin story. They're going to have some teams in the tournament.
Yeah, Jawan Howard doing a great job as an alum. Doing a really good job down there in Michigan.
And you know, Minnesota has some ambitions this year. They're ranked for a reason.
Yeah, they won some big games. Ohio State. My good friend Richard Pitino down there in Minnesota.
Probably not sleeping well tonight.
He's not sleeping well tonight. Not with the whooping that they got from Michigan tonight.
10-point game. Boise State trying to stay perfect in the Mountain West. Air Force looking for their second road win. Remember, they won at Nevada. Second game of that weekend series. These 2-game series, very interesting.
Very, very interesting.
And another shot clock violation. Second time the Broncos have forced that turnover.
Yeah, Air Force they have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. They should know the clock. That shouldn't have happened. Right now they're at 9 turnovers, and Boise State's got 11 points off of turn. There's a difference in the game right there. They can't afford to keep turning the ball over.
And McClintock comes out after that turn. Alston at the other end. Alston not in the groove offensively yet, just over 3 from the field, but his time will come.
And that speaks to the depth of this team. The fact that your leading scorer can have 2 points right now and you're still up.
And you're up 10.
And you're still up 10. And you know, that speaks to the depth of their team, the talent of their team.
Air Force 3-5. Cal State Northridge, Lamar, and then the win against Nevada. Remember, even last year, which was not a tremendous record. They were 12-20, 5-13 in conference, but they beat this Bronco team and they beat Utah State at home at Clune.
I don't know that Coach Rice was happy with that pull-up by Alston.
So now the Broncos haven't scored for over 2.5 minutes. A.J. Walker at the top. Air Force, Nick Jackson, sophomore out of Arizona. Walker going to get his own rebound, back up. It's the little things.
And A.J. Walker, I like him a lot. He has a chance to to make things happen. He's one of the few guys on Air Force's roster that he can create his own shot. 27 points in the win against Nevada, 19 against Utah State last Saturday. He's one of the few guys on this roster that can create and get his own shot.
There's Ray J getting inside. So Ray J and Shaver between them. 4 for 6, 11 points. A.J. Walker. Out of bounds still. An Air Force ball. A.J. Walker, again, the junior, originally from San Antonio. Back to the other end, and there is Ray J. Dennis.
I really like Ray J. Dennis. Anytime you see a team's 8-1, and the first thing you got to look at is who is the point guard. And when you look at Ray J. Dennis, he's a great defender. He does a great job of taking care of the basketball. He's almost at a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. And he's the glue to this team and their success so far this season.
See Alston with the big swat, and then he's run over by Jackson. Took a little bonk in the head. Both teams go to the bench. Dutreve's going to come back in. Ray J. Dennis, the one thing that he's probably doing better this year, I mean, he was an offensive player. He's a better defender now, too.
He does a really good job staying down, staying in front of his man and hawking the ball, forcing steals.
2 fouls on Nick Jackson. Here's Alston to the line. All of his points at the free throw line so far. Alston, finalist for the Julius Erving Award last year for the best small forward in the country, and he's on the list again. Probably a little stronger. I know he looks, really lean and thin. He used to be thinner and less muscular.
He's very effective, though. He does a really good job of finding ways to score. Very crafty.
And you always talk about long guys, the wingspan on defense, but that benefits him on offense, his release of the ball. Penetration does not go. Broncos sometimes overplaying a little bit defensively. And driving the hoop, Acott, who's been quiet lately, draws the foul. He'll get to the line.
And there you see it again. There's the Broncos in transition. See AJ, you see Acott look to attack. Takes his time, slows down. Swings through and gets the foul.
3 fouls now on Nick Jackson. So Jackson 3 and 2 on Solon. They're in the most foul trouble for Air Force. And Solon comes back in. First free throw for Acott, who has been Mr. Clutch this year.
Yeah, he just seems to do all the little things that they need to be successful, whether it's on the defensive end, whether it's rebounding, hitting big shots.
Hit the game winner against BYU and did the great job defensively on Richard Washington at San Jose State at the end of that game last week, where San Jose State almost pulled the upset. And it was mano-a-mano defense.
Yeah, with 14 seconds on the clock.
Plenty of time for San Jose to get something off, and he did a great job.
Did a great job. Stayed down, was disciplined, rolled up, did an excellent job not giving Washington a good look.
Boise State turnover. Walker off the glass. Ooh, and tipped out. That'll count. Nice reach by feet jab. Popped it right back out. Boise State with a 7-point lead as we come close to halftime. Late night hoops in Boise. There's some good stuff on Wednesday night around the country. Stick around. Hey, you got to check out Coach Lav on social. He's been posting some interesting throwback stuff lately.
I'm not following him.
You got to follow him.
Yeah.
He's a historian.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that tonight.
All right, Boise State's hit a little funk right now. Let's see if Air Force can make a push before the half. They've got it back down to 7. Dennis in the game.
This last 4 minutes for Air Force is crucial to see how they go into the locker room at half.
Acott, there's Ray J, room in the baseline, open man. Acott, patient, 3, no. Oh, look at that work for the rebound. There's Dutrieve going after it. Commits the foul. I like how Dutrieve moves very smoothly. You know, he doesn't do anything with power and strength, but boy, he just, you know, you watch his step as he gets out on the break. You watch what he does when he gets the ball in his hand. He's just smooth.
Yeah, he has a prototypical basketball body. Yeah. His long arms. He's strong but lean.
And again, you think of how he's going to complement Shaver and Ray J and Max Rice.
Yeah, and Coach talked about it. It's not going to happen overnight. No. It's not going to happen in this game. It's going to take some time.
Oh, and a big shot for Akaya.
Akaya's been doing a really good job giving them something off the bench the last couple games.
He's 3 for 4. That was his first 3. 4-point game. And they get the ball back. Oh, and that gets Joe Scott up off the bench. Likes what he's seeing. 7 straight for the Falcons. Van Solem playing with 3 fouls. Deep to Walker. Walker backs his way in. Or check that. That was Joseph Octave, the freshman in the game. And the foul is on Hijab.
And in our Zoom call yesterday, Coach said he was going to play Octave. He hasn't played a ton of minutes so far this season, but with the injury to Kinraid, he's finding an opportunity to come in and help the team.
Well, with the foul disparity, this is the first Falcon free throw of the night. And for Octave, that's his 3rd point as a Falcon. Freshman out of Gardenia, California. Spent a year at the Air Force Academy prep school, like so many AFA athletes do. So there's a lot of maturity of that. You get these guys now, they're 19 years old. They've been in the prep school environment where you have to play sport, even if it's not your designated sport.
It's always more beneficial to come into college mature. So if you can get that extra year, that's definitely an advantage.
Kijab strong. He'll get to the line.
See the isolation at the free throw line. Kijab does a great job of attacking the rim and getting fouled.
Fouls on Akaya. Kijab, 69% free throw shooter. Again, transferred from Oregon. Played a lot as a freshman at Oregon. 35 games. Played on Canada's U19 national team. And again, another one of those Canadian athletes that Dana Altman has mined for the U of O. Second free throw. And the lead is 4 again. Well, Leon Rice has seen the tape of that Nevada game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Coach Scott on the other end, he's with 2 minutes to go, down 4, he'll take this all day long.
There's Chris Joyce in deep. Got to get the shot off, though. And he does. Boy, Joyce keeps flirting with 3 seconds. But he milks it all he needs for that shot. And Joyce has hit 3. He's got 6 points. Lead down to 2. Dave Shaver up and under. No. Dutrieve fights for the board. Nope. Air Force will get it back, and that'll be Dutrieve's 3rd. So Alston will come back in now for Boise State.
And what you're seeing right here is Air Force is doing a great job of posting up their guards. They've kind of inverted their offense, and they're looking at their guards to post up Boise State's guards, and they're getting something out of it.
And look how deep Rice is around the basket trying to defend. So the Broncos now coming up on 4 minutes without a field goal. Air Force with a chance to tie or go ahead in the final 90 seconds of the first half. Octave. No, Alston skies for the board. That is something that the professional league will want to see out of Alston.
Yeah, his versatility and his length to be able to get the ball off the rim and start the break, push and start the break is definitely something that translates to the next level of basketball.
And a badly needed 3 by Max Rice, his 2nd. Broncos by 5. Now the takeaway. Shaver. Ray J. He jab. Looking for a teammate. He finds Alston. Alston spent a lot of time on the perimeter tonight. There's Max for another three. Here we go. It's 2 straight.
And that all started from a turnover by Air Force. And when Air Force was making their run, they weren't turning the ball over. So it's going to be critical that they continue to take care of the ball if they want to stay in this game.
So better than average night so far for the Broncos from beyond the arc. Air Force tries it. Joyce over the rim. Boise State 6 straight. Here we come. Final possession possibly of the first half. Oh, but the turnover. It's not how Leon Rice wanted to end it. Shaver not happy with himself. Yeah, he's calling for a strong defensive set here. Doesn't want to give up the points at the end of the half. A.J. Walker. And Solon. Walker, you know it's going to be Walker. There it is. No. So Boise State avoids a problem after the turnover, and they've got the lead back to 8 after Air Force got it down to 2. Max Rice, 3 3-pointers. That accounts for all of his scoring. And Boise State looking to stay perfect in Mountain West Conference play. Opens up an 8-point lead. It is halftime at ExtraMile Arena. We're going to L.A. for halftime next. It's College Hoops Late Night on FS1. Second half about to begin at ExtraMile Arena in Boise, Idaho. First half numbers. Air Force productive in a lot of ways on offense, but Boise State's bench helping get this margin back to 8 after Boise State had a huge run early, and a big part of all that is Max Rice knocking down 3 3-pointers, one off his career best.
And we talked about how valuable he is to this team coming off the bench, and he's showing his value right here with these 3 threes.
He hit 4 in the second game of the New Mexico series. Back in December, he is the leading scorer for the Broncos with 9. Great balance. 8 different scores, and they have an 8-point lead after leading by as many as 12 in the first half. Baba came in. White King Jones, thanks for staying up. I know it's Wednesday night, but come on, we got Mountain West Conference hoops already tonight. Utah State with another victory. So they're still perfect in conference play. They won handily against New Mexico, and another one of those neutral site games for the Lobos. They're continuing to play their season in Lubbock, Texas at Lubbock Christian University.
And for Coach Scott at Air Force, it was a solid half for him. They just have to do a better job of locating shooters.
As you're up to the minute standings, we will have the second game of the Aggie Lobo series Friday night right here on FS1. There's the big man getting inside, Armouche.
So they started the second half the same way they started the first, going inside to Armouche on the duck in. He was able to capitalize this time.
Now a little pressure defensively, forcing the turnover. That's hurt Air Force, and at the other end, just like that, Ray J puts it down. 4 quick points, and it leads up to a dozen.
You cannot turn the ball over against this basketball team. They will make you pay.
It's 11 Air Force turnovers now. Well, if you're a coach, you talk about the last couple minutes of the first half and the first couple of the second half. It's exactly what Leon Rice wanted to see. Nice floater, A.J. Walker.
And there Walker is showing his ability to score.
You look at the Air Force results against Utah State last week, and there was a couple of handy wins for the Aggies, but Joe Scott said he really liked the grit and tenacity that Walker showed in those games.
Yeah, after getting blown out in the first game, they did show a lot of grit. Not only did Walker show grit, but the rest of the team showed grit as well. And they competed against a very, very good Utah State team.
Armouche a little too close to the basket that time.
And as Coach Scott said, he just wants to see them compete game in and game out. That's all he wants, regardless of the results. He wants to see his team compete and fight.
See Joe Scott in the background, pacing the sideline. Here's the drive. Jackson. Get him to the line. Jackson, state champion high school basketball in Arizona. Rancho Solano, his senior year. Very good student. 3.8 GPA.
Yeah, and right there you see Jackson catching the ball at the high post and recognizing that he could take Armouche off the bounce. He's more athletic, quicker to the rim.
And that's only the first foul on Armouche. Now, a lot of it, he hasn't played the minutes tonight. You know, it was really amazing in the win over Brigham Young. Both Armouche and then Milner, Lucas Milner, who we haven't seen tonight, but he's usually the big backup. They both were in deep foul trouble at the end of the game, which made it all the more impressive. The Broncos won that game in Provo.
And that's what gave Coach Rice the idea that he could go small and still be effective and still get some things done with a smaller lineup.
Oh, and here comes Alston. First make of the game, and it's a 3. They always end up falling for this guy.
And there you see Boise going to a 2-3 zone.
They'll do that selectively. They did a great job with that against San Jose State last week when Spartans were hitting everything in that second game, and about midway point of the second half went to the zone and definitely took away the Spartans' momentum.
They had to do something different because San Jose State was hitting everything at that juncture in the game, so they had to do something different to get them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, if they couldn't call an Uber for Richard Washington, they had to do something else. Air Force on the attack, trailing by 11. Falcons looking for their second Mountain West Conference win at 3-5. They have not won in this building since 2012, but they did beat the Broncos again at the Academy last year.
And another turnover for Air Force.
It's number 12 for Walker, his second. All right, here comes Shaver in for the first time, so the Broncos go small. Armouche comes out. And, you know, it's not like the Mountain West is the land of the Giants. I mean, you're going to – this could definitely benefit Boise having all these different small looks this year.
Yeah, I would say every team, for the exception of Utah State, when you got to play against Cada, you're going to need some size to get something done against him. He's so talented and 7-footer, 245-pound athlete.
He was the leading scorer tonight against the Lobos. Oh, there's A.J. Walker.
I really like A.J. Walker.
You know what his career path is at the Academy? Cyber warfare. That's pretty good. That's interesting stuff.
That is interesting.
Don't get him mad at you.
I don't even know what to say about that, Bob.
I'm now very afraid to say anything about him.
Don't let him have your phone.
I was going to say, it's your Facebook account.
Keep your phone away from AJ.
Oh, and here's Shaver. And see, look how quick he makes the decision what he's going to do when he gets the ball in his hand. And if that's Van Solen, that's going to be his 4th foul. So Boise State strong at the end of the half. Good start to the second half. Boise State, winner of 8 straight games, leading Air Force. And we talked about the BYU victory, and that has helped propel the Broncos in the first week of net ratings. Look at that. That's number 12 in the country, and you start taking the Mountain West as a whole. San Diego State, you knew they were going to be up there. Colorado State, quality win at San Diego State. And Utah State, which didn't exactly lose a lot from the team that won the conference tournament last year.
Yeah, when you look at Boise State's balance and you look at their bench, you shouldn't be surprised by that number.
You know, the net rankings, of course, so much more significant now, at least for comparison purposes. Usual suspects on top right now. Gonzaga in Baylor. You heard our studio guys before us talking about you take Gonzaga, Baylor versus the field. It's kind of tough this year because, you know, a lot of teams could emerge.
It's tough.
It might come down to, I know you think this, who's played more games? Who got more games in? Got a chance to figure things out.
Yeah, you got to get reps. You got to be battle tested.
And, you know, in this conference, the most games played so far, the team's on top. This is the Broncos' 10th game tonight. Utah State winning tonight. They lead with 11. Nevada's played 11. They're 8-3. And, of course, those quality... I mean, that BYU game is gigantic for the Broncos right now. You know, we started the season and the projection was, well, obviously, you know, the tournament champion goes, but is anybody else going to go? And I think people presume San Diego State. But you look what Utah State did last year, winning the tournament, and you look at this Boise State team. I mean, there's 3 legitimate NCAA teams.
Yeah, I really like Utah State. I think that they have all the pieces to repeat winning the Mountain West tournament again this year. I think they have all the pieces.
It'll be interesting to see. Broncos against Aggies, Aggies against Aztecs. By the way, that last Boise State basket ended about a 3-minute drought. Now it's a 10-point lead. And Leon Rice really credits Mike Burns, his assistant coach, the scheduler, who had to keep rescheduling games. Boise State had a really tough preseason schedule plan. Northern Iowa, Tulsa. And they thought they were going to have to play Kansas or Seton Hall or UCLA. All those games went away.
They were able to find a game against Houston, their first game of the season against Houston.
And that was important because Houston, very good team. Well, they just lost their key guy. You know, Kelvin Sampson can coach a box of rocks. And the Broncos went there and played terribly in the first half, got behind because Houston was more prepared. But then they came back and played well down the stretch, and that kind of got them started. And they haven't lost since. So there's the Mountain West. Right now, we're the only other game going on tonight. Tomorrow, Colorado State, UNLV. And speaking of the Aztecs, well, they're playing Nevada, so that'll be interesting with Nevada's deep and young backcourt. But I'll tell you what, San Diego State has 3 guys. I want to watch them play every chance I get. Alston in transition, all the way to the rack.
Big time finish.
Long and strong.
And those are the type of plays that you see him make. And you can see him at the next level. When you see him make plays like that, the fact that he can really shoot the ball, you know, you just got to be able to imagine that he's going to have an opportunity to go play at the next level.
Well, you know, gave himself an opportunity, let the league take a look at him, and then decided to come back to Boise State. That is 4 fouls now on Nick Jackson. So he is the first Air Force player with 4. Van Solen's still at 3. I might have mentioned I thought he had 4 before, but Van Solen's still on 3.
And that goes back to our keys of the game. If you want to give yourself a chance to win, you can't let Boise State get out in transition because they're so good, and they're going to make plays like what we just saw.
Boise State 18 points off 13 Air Force turns. Kaya. Kaya's got 7 points off the bench. And here's Alston, who's found his shot here in the second half. He's got 10 points now, hit all 5 of his free throws.
It'd be interesting to see if they can get Max Rice a look after going 3 for 3 from long distance in the first half.
Well, there's number 4. That's a good call, Coach.
And that just shows you right there, you know, Alston could have taken a shot. He decided to pass up what would have been a good shot for him to make sure that Max got that touch.
6 straight for the Broncos. So the lead is 16. Joe Scott, his second tour at the Academy. The Falcons looking for one on the road. Well, Boise State's Derrick Alston did all his work at the free throw line in the first half. Now he's coming alive a bit from the field, has 10 points. But, you know, this is what he does. He's all over the leaderboard in the Mountain West, scoring, shooting. And despite tonight, his three-point shooting second best and excellent at the free throw line as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know how good he is, and you know the numbers. But when you start seeing the percentages, you start to see how efficient his game is.
And Max Rice, second leading scorer now. Shaver's up to 13. Max has 12, and he's hit all 4 of his threes, so he's equaled his career best from three-point range.
Yeah, off their bench, Shaver and Rice, they're 7 for 7 from 3. Haven't missed one.
Bronco bench has now almost outscored the starters. 29-30. Air Force on the attack. Front rim for Akaya. Retrieve back in. Again playing his first game after a year away. Long wait for his transfer from Arizona. Here's the entry to Alston. Alston off balance. No. Automoosh hits the deck. Did he walk? Nope. Fouled first. But the foul is on Arbouche. Just a turnover. So he didn't get any help on the foul. Just hit the deck. Now Glenn McClintock. Talked about the Prep Academy. McClintock was one of the captains of that prep team at the Academy. That's why as a freshman he's seeing all this action. And frankly, Joe Scott is not afraid to play young guys. You know, he doesn't just throw guys on the floor. There's a lot of people. He's got 6 guys on the roster who have not played a minute yet this year. A.J. Walker. Approaching the midway point of the second half. It is now Thursday on the East Coast. Thank you for staying up with us. Shaver. Pops. Yes. See, the things he does, changing direction. You know, he's going to drive. Oh, no, I'm not now. He changes direction when he's on the dribble.
He's a very crafty scorer, and you saw that pull-up. But the play before that, you saw him attack the closeout and find an open man, find Alston in the lane for a jumper.
So that's a very quiet 10-0 run that just ended and pushed the lead up to 20, and that's been the largest lead of the game. Walker again. So Walker with 15. He's over his season average. And had that huge game against Nevada, 27. And Alston's going to shoot more free throws. Fouls on Joyce. Joyce has 2. And Alston trying to stay perfect at the line. Nick Jackson comes back in. Jackson is playing with 4 fouls right now. Comes back in for Akaya. Alston again. Money.
And right here you see Boise State picking up full court. Man-to-man run and jump, press. And right here with a 20-point lead, it's a great time to try to open the game up and put the game away.
3-point try, no. Offensive rebound, no. Air Force. Down 20. Looking to take a bite out of that. Shaver near takeaway. Arbouche deflected that. Here's Dutree. Look at that. Glide to the hoop. Air Force comes back the other way. Some early offense. Doesn't fall for Joyce. There's Dutrieve again. He is so open. That doesn't go, but there's a foul on the rebound. Alston going up for that. That'll be his foul. That'll be number 1 for him. Now Octave comes back in for Air Force. Ray J. Dennis, who they haven't needed a lot of.
Yeah, you haven't seen Ray J out there very much tonight.
Ray J has 7 points. So the Broncos now 20 points off Air Force turnovers.
A.J. Walker right there turned it over. Forgot that he couldn't move on the baseline. Mental mistake. I guess it's safe to say that Air Force is rattled right now.
And the Broncos playing with the lead, not taking their foot off the gas. There's Max. Gives it up to Dennis. Ray J dumps it lower. Moosh. That goes in. That's the shot they want him to make and take every time. Now they'll put on a little pressure.
He has to finish those. He has to reward his point guard for getting in the lane and finding him. He has to finish those.
Extending the biggest lead of the night for the Broncos. Octave. Into the paint. Jackson's there. That'll get him to the line. The Boise State Broncos accelerating in the second half. They're looking for win number 9 in a row against the Falcons. Well, when Coach was getting us started earlier tonight, we talked about his keys to the game, and this is kind of what's come to pass, how the Broncos have opened up this lead.
Yeah, as we expected. If Air Force didn't do a great job of taking care of the ball, Boise State was going to make them pay, and you see it right there. 15 turnovers, and Boise State has 22 points off of those 15 turnovers, and that's the difference in the game right there. They're tied up with 22 points in the paint, but it's those points off of turnovers that has made the difference tonight.
Joe Scott pondering the remainder of this game, and of course the rematch Friday night right here at ExtraMile Arena. Nick Jackson, the free throw shooter.
He struggles at the free throw line. He's only shooting 40% on the season from the free throw line.
2 for 4 now in this game. And you can see Leon Rice still working on these combos with his key bench.
Yeah, you can see Coach Rice. He's looking at different combinations of lineups out there to try to see what works, what feels comfortable.
There's Dutrieve. Tough quarters getting that shot off. So in his debut, Devonair Dutrieve, 8 points, 3 of 5 from the field, couple of free throws, rebound, and assist.
He's having a good night.
And, Coach Rice was saying he's been good in practice because he's happy when he's playing basketball.
He really liked his feel for the game, and he played for Sean Miller at Arizona, and he played against great competition night in, night out, and so you expect that from a kid that came from a program like that.
They average about 11 minutes. But he played a lot at the end of his first year. He had a big game against Oregon. He played like 24 minutes very late in the season.
Yeah, right around conference time is when he really started to play well, and Coach Miller started playing him more minutes.
Falcons off the inbound. A.J. Walker. Walker, the junior, he was big as a freshman. There's Van Solon, who's having a nice balanced night. And this is what they want to see out of him. He's got 8 to go with 5 rebounds and 3 assists.
I've watched him play a bunch, and I just still feel like he can give them more, especially being a senior. Long distance.
Dennis connects. Dennis, hot early, hasn't needed to do much offensively in the second half, but he's in double figures now. So now 4 Broncos, 10 or more points. Just over 6 minutes to go in this one. McClintock finds Octave. So 2 freshmen out there handling the ball. Van Solen, agile 6'7" guy away from the basket. Another shot clock violation. That's 3 in the game for Air Force. Go back to the other end. Armouche finding Ray J. So Boise State, again, 50% from the three-point range, well above their average. And again, that's with Alston's 1 for 6.
Yeah, and then you look on the other end and you see Air Force is shooting 48% from the field, and they're not playing a bad offensive game. It's just that they're not giving themselves a chance to score with all the turnovers.
Now they've taken almost the same number of shots, so it's not like they're not getting possessions. Now they've had 42 field goal attempts, 46 for Boise State. Air Force ball, and again the Broncos getting into this press. This will show up in some teams' breakdowns.
Yeah, and you can see the coach, with Devonair being in the lineup now, you can see he's got more bodies, so he's gonna have to figure out how to play all these guys, and so the best way to do that is to tire them out there, make them pick up full court.
He's got Acott back in now. Dutriev's on the bench. 3-pointer. McClintock doesn't go. Ray J. Dennis. Shaver turns the corner on 2 guys. It's bailed out there. That was a little tight quarter, but the foul committed by Walker. Ray J. Dennis, best assist turnover ratio on the team. He's second in the Mountain West with steals.
Ray J. Dennis is a big part of this team's success.
Oh, and Alston, the elevation sensation.
You just see that length, athleticism.
Building some contact there.
That's a little bit. That's a really good find by Armouche on the dive.
Look at his.
By Alston.
Look at his elevation, how high he gets. We've seen this twice now. Look at his bench. I think this team likes each other.
Well, they have to create their own energy without fans. The bench is more important than they've ever been.
This is like watching the old Arizona Gumbies. Lute Olson, Kenny Lofton, Matt Othick before they were starters.
There's Keaton Van Solen attacking the rim, getting to the free throw line.
Again, he's done what they ask him to do. Abe Kinraid is out, so there are guys short in their regular rotation, and Van Solen right at his season average now with 8. It was Armouche's 3rd foul. Free throw good. Here comes Mason Taylor back in, sophomore from Missouri. He's been showing some stuff in practice. Coach Scott likes him.
Yeah, Mason Taylor, he shot 44% from 3 last season, so he had a lot more minutes last year.
And he was the best of all the freshmen last year. Turnover by Shaver. Walker trying to make him pay. Walker waits a teammate. There's Van Solen. Oh, yeah. Keaton Van Solen. Double figures now. 13. So Walker 15, Van Solen 13. Miss at the other end. Offense flowing pretty free right now. And Boise State in control. The Broncos looking to match Utah State on top of the Mountain West. at 5-0. They're getting close. Saturday on Fox, MVP candidate Russell Wilson leads the Seahawks against Aaron Donald and the Rams. It's all part of Super Wild Card Weekend, Saturday at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Air Force led by A.J. Walker with his 15 points, 7 of 11 from the field, 3 boards, 4 assists, doing what he does every night for Joe Scott. And just a junior, you know, as so many young guys this year, and Joe Scott's such a good program builder, they're going to set themselves up with guys that had a lot of good minutes. Aycott, who has not been needed tonight.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
Guy we love to talk about. Oh, there you go.
And as soon as we say his name,
there you go.
It's a nice little short jumper.
Another talented Canadian. Now, he finished up, played a good prep school at Wasatch Academy in Utah before he went to Arizona. He's one of the highest rated recruits ever for Leon Rice.
And he played for a good friend of mine, Curtis Conde, down at Wasatch.
And now it is time to clear the bench. Leon Rice has done enough with his combos, and now everyone's going to get in.
Yeah, but take a look at the bench.
Where's the bench? This is the other guys.
Look at who he's bringing into the game.
It's not the rest of the bench. I spoke too soon. Key Jab comes back in.
Oh, but when you look at
now here's Lucas Milner. Okay, so Lucas Milner in for the first time.
Yeah.
He's the other big.
Yeah, and when you look at Max Rice as well.
There's a technical called on the Broncos. Not sure why. It was on Alston.
Yeah, I think he had something to say on his way out of the game to the refs.
Well, you know, he's taken some contact tonight.
Yeah, they roughed him up a little bit, but you know, you can't afford to have that tech, especially with the scoreboard being what it is, and you know.
16 points, 7 boards, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. You know, he had a 12 for 12 game last year at the line.
And he's frustrated. He hasn't had a great night tonight, so you can see the frustration.
And I would say the way he is after tonight, beware on Friday, because he will come back with a vengeance.
He scored 20 or more in the last 5 games, and so he's been on a hot streak. And you know, I would say he struggled tonight. He just didn't have a typical Derrick Alston game tonight.
Okay, well, I can put the coach hat on now.
Okay.
2-game series. You're Boise State. You win this game. Mm-hmm. What are you thinking about now for game 2?
Well, you know, you're winning the game big, and so you just don't want your guys to let the foot off the pedal. And so, you know, they just have to know that there still needs to be a sense of urgency in this second game. And, you know, you have an example for your guys because they lost the game, the first game in Nevada by 17, and then they go back and win the game by 2 on the road. And so you have the example that you can't relax in game 2.
And the Broncos last week, they beat San Jose State by 50, and then they got in that dogfight in the second game. So I'm sure that tape is going to come out this week. It's a different psychology. Now, you know, there's some, I mean, at small college levels, NAIA, most of those teams play, you know, Friday, Saturday series. It's not like it's uncommon. It is uncommon in Division I.
You know, I don't think coach will have any problems getting his guys ready to play. And especially when you have a new guy in the lineup with Dutrieve. I think they'll be ready to play on Friday night.
Okay, let's take the Air Force perspective. Did some good things on offense tonight. What is Joe Scott? What do you want to do if you're Joe Scott?
Well, you just got to clean some things up. You just got to continue to get better at taking care of the basketball. Right now, they're at 16 turnovers, and that's what they're averaging on the season. And so, you got to give yourself a chance to score, and we talked about it time and time again. You're letting one of the best teams in the conference in transition. You're fueling their transition every time you turn the ball over. They can't do that.
Again, 16 turnovers. And without that, they would have. I mean, they're just at and above their season scoring average, but they would have been more productive on offense if they'd hung on to the ball. Broncos keeping the possession. Less than 90 seconds to go. Shaver, well, you know he's gone. And of course, Mason Taylor. Solomon Pierre Lewis in for the first time, number 1. There's Van Solen with the hook. Van Solen with 15, one off his career high.
1 point away. And Coach Scott said it. He said he wanted to see more from him, and so he's showing something tonight.
And, you know, his career high was legit. It was against Utah State in, 19?
It's a really good Utah State team.
And the Broncos, we got a couple new faces in. Pavle Kuzmanovic, the other Serbian. And Najee Smith, who has actually played quite a bit this year, the junior out of Spokane. He was Max Rice's AAU teammate.
Well, you see right there, the streak is about to go to 9, and if they can get it to 10, they tie a school record. And if I'm Coach Rice, I don't mention that at all to my players.
He's not worried about school records. He's worried about what's going to happen in March. He's worried about conference tournaments. Long shot off the mark on the run out. Dutree with the lob. Not the finish. Battle for the board. Milner over the top. And they're going to get him. Milner has actually played some longer minutes off the bench when they were bigger. And again, backing up Baramouche.
Yeah, the coach decided to go small in this game. He'll get more minutes when they play against size.
He's a Kansas City kid from Olathe on the Kansas side. Final seconds now. Pierre Lutz, who has not scored yet this year. And now the Broncos will walk it down. So Boise State gets to 5-0, and they stay even with Utah State on top of the Mountain West Conference. 9 straight wins for Leon Rice, and there are your standings up to the moment. Final thoughts from the coach. The Broncos did what they needed to do, and importantly, took charge early in this game.
They did, and you got to give a lot of credit to their bench. Shaver came off the bench and played a great game. Rice shot the ball very well, and Dutree played in his first game with a Bronco uniform, played really well off the bench as well. So you got to give their bench a lot of credit.
So it's a done deal from ExtraMile Arena in Boise. The Broncos with a 78-59 victory over Air Force. For Viking Jones, I am Bob Acamian. Thanks for being with us. You've been watching Mountain West Conference Hoops on FS1. Good night from Idaho.